Okay, so what can you expect as a mentor? This is where these slides start to get a little bit heavier, and that's because these are things that over the course of talking with mentors that have been through the National Teams program, talking with our national instructors, these are things that, you know, we heard from mentors, boy, I really wish I had known X and Y and Z. So this is where the content of the slide deck really is I'm channeling our previous mentors and trying to pass that along to you. So the first thing that that the mentors really talked about and the instructors talked about is this purposefully direct approach from the instructors. And what that means is instructors are going to be very to the point during the course. It means that I do it myself. You know, we do in. Whoop, I don't know. Oh, okay. Sorry about that. And I did that with my mind. I literally am not touching anything. I don't know how I did that. You know, we wind up interrupting the teams in the middle of their presentations and saying, wait a second, how do you know that that's true? What's the more fundamental assumption you're making? And they're surprised. They back up and say, wait a second, I want to talk about my technology, or I want to talk about what I want to talk about. And the reality is that, you know, we're trying to get through a lot of content and a lot of experiential, instruction so that they can go out and do the experiential learning in the interviews. We're trying to get through a lot of material very quickly. And the reality is this is because this experience, the I-Corps experience itself, is designed to create immediate action in time, resource, and cash-constrained environments. We're just really trying to get them to question themselves, and that concept will come up in a couple of slides from now. But we're really trying to make sure. In fact, I say this in the short courses that I teach and in our accelerator. You don't have a lot of time with me. I wish I could walk around with you. And the reality is that the mentors are on the teams. You're an extension of the teaching team, so you'll have a little bit more time with them. But we also encourage our mentors to be very direct and to the point. Your time is incredibly valuable, and I think the teams need to know that. So I think if you do it in a kind way, there's a way to be purposely direct without being jerky. Right? I mean, I think, sometimes we've heard that in the past. It's like, oh, that person, seemed to be really harsh. And, and then I'd say, well, what did they say? And I'd listen to some of the words and I was like, that's not harsh. They're just trying to be direct. They're trying to help you learn better. And so after some time, you should just be prepared that is the approach from instructors. They are going to be purposely direct. So let's also talk about attendance. So mentors must attend all scheduled cohort sessions. That's the kickoff sessions, the weekly calls, the end wrap-up sessions. Your engagement and punctuality is critical to the success of your team and the whole cohort. And the reality is, and I want you to feel empowered by this. I started with a thank you because I can't tell you how grateful we are as a node and as a representative of the NSF to have seasoned mentors on the team with us. The reality is that these teams look up to you. And if you're modeling good behavior, right, I mean, that just makes good sense. So, you need to be, your engagement and punctuality really makes the teams step up and say, you know what, my mentor is here. I gotta be on my best behavior and, bring my A game. So, feel free to reinforce that as well with your teams. So we like to say, as soon as one person is special, then everyone is special. Let me say it in a different way. Everyone in that room is special. Therefore, there is no special. Everybody there is hand-picked, hand-selected, and the reality is that these are teams that are trying to learn something. So Again, the NSF spends a lot of time and energy and money on this, and everyone is special. So we don't try to single anyone out. That's why we ask for kind of a very specific mode of operation. So the teaching team will depend on you to share knowledge and insights when it's applicable. And this works both ways. There are mentor sessions with the instructors, mentors only. There are, you're an extension of the teaching team. So you're going to be the person on the team that says, hey, so, remember during class, a curriculum moment, we'll call it, came up during one of the sessions and they said X, Y, Z. Let's think about that in the context of what you just heard from the customers. What did you hear during a session? How are you formulating your hypothesis so that you're getting good information? So remember, we expect you to be on that team and sharing that knowledge and insights. And again, that's both ways. You should be reinforcing on your team what the teaching team is doing in the Zoom calls and the weekly calls and the check-in calls, as well as lessons learned, as well as any of the in-person meetings, and vice versa. You can be bringing information back to us and saying, hey, how do I handle this? What can I be doing differently? How can I modify what the teams are hearing from me? So we expect that is a two-way street.